One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Nije nimalo čudno što NASA predvodi u igri stvaranja inovativne tehnologije, s obzirom na razinu stručnosti njezinih ljudi, radni proces i izvedbu. No NASA-ini timovi surađuju i s trećim stranama, tvrtkama i pojedincima, kako bi zajedno proizveli i komercijalizirali još više inovacija. Njihovim suradnicima time se pruža jedinstvena mogućnost da konstruiraju uređaje budućnosti uz pomoć tehnološkog diva, a NASA može ostvariti još brži razvoj.
I am the program executive for the NASA Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer programs. I lead an amazing team of civil servants and contractors that are connecting small business innovation with NASA technology need.
I'm the Director for Early Stage Innovations and Partnerships at NASA headquarters in the Space Technology Mission Directorate.
I'm the President of Robust Analytics. We're a small business that does research and development into aviation safety, airline operations, and other advanced air transportation technologies.
I am the president of X-Wave Innovations Inc. My main focus is basically the day-to-day operations, including the oversee the accounting staff, HR staff, information system, bring our product to the commercial side.
I am the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of the TGV Rockets Corporation, working now towards a tri-propellant engine, a single engine that can deep throttle, that can work efficiently from sea level to orbit, can land the vehicle back. So if we can make all that work, it will be the breakthrough engine of space launch.
NASIN program suradnje s malim poduzetnicima omogućuje inovatorima da sudjeluju u stvaranju najuzbudljivijih primjera inovativne tehnologije na svijetu.
I studied aerospace engineering in college because I was always fascinated by math and complexity and hard problems, but I was also in college when 9/11 happened, which had a profound impact on kind of what I did next. After undergrad, I shifted for a bit to a technology policy focus and took a little bit of a rest stop in Homeland Security before I ended up coming back to government through the Open Government Initiative, which really focused on how to make government more transparent, participatory, and collaborative. Through that activity, I got involved in Prizes and Challenges, which is a way to bring the public in to government missions and really engage them in the work that they do. And that's eventually what brought me back to NASA to lead an effort to try to scale the use of public engagement and Prizes and Challenges for NASA in 2012.
After graduate school, I came to Washington, D.C. and went to work for one of the Defense Department think tanks. While I was there, I did a wide variety of work supporting the Navy and Marine Corps. And that's where I first got exposed to work in the aviation area. I was fortunate enough to go over and join the President's Council of Economic Advisors. I was back during the administration of President George H.W. Bush. So I worked on an incredibly wide variety of topics while I was at the White House by participating in some of the working groups on airport privatization and try and bring back the general aviation manufacturing business in the United States.
I was involved in the DCX and DCXA programs, and these were interesting technology problems looking at how do you fully reuse space launchers. And at the time, NASA was spending some serious money looking at these problems, and they were a little bit beyond the state-of-the-art of what we could solve. But I thought it was a worthwhile goal to try and be able to make space launch cheaper, more reliable, more accessible to industry, universities. My background came out of industrial engineering and industrial sales. So I was interested in how do you drive the cost down as opposed to pushing performance.
Interestingly enough, this is my third time working at NASA. I got a BS in chemistry, graduated back all the way in 1993, started at NASA in 1994, spent about 8 years at the agency, I left, got an MBA focused on entrepreneurship, and then came back to help the SBIR and STTR programs with a strategic refresh just last year in 2020. In February of this year, have been given this great opportunity to lead the SBIR and STTR teams.
NASA-in program zajedničkog istraživanja i usluge prinosa tehnologije privlače mnoge pionire koji žele promijeniti svijet na bolje.
Today at NASA, I am the Director of Early Stage Innovations and Partnerships in the Space Technology Mission Directorate. And in that role, what we really seek to do is invest in technology and teams that are driving the future, not only for NASA's technology needs to revolutionize our missions, but also to grow the commercial aerospace industry and also create the jobs, talent, and competitive American ecosystem of the future. And we do that through a whole host of programs that engage universities, small businesses, large businesses, individual innovators, makers, and hobbyists, kind of the whole realm of people in America that you could imagine. We have mechanisms to on-ramp all of those innovators, and we do so through nearly 700 awards every year working with those communities.
SBIR and STTR are amazing programs started back in the 80s. There was a recognition that there was a great opportunity to engage small business innovators to help government develop technology. Recognizing the lifeblood of the economy coming from small business, was there a way to engage these innovators and entrepreneurs in a really focused way? So SBIR and STTR are set-asides where we take a percentage of our research budget and direct it towards small business. Missions to Mars and our return to the moon, missions to identify planets around stars outside of our galaxy. Aeronautics, looking at general aviation or larger commercial aircraft. All these are technology areas that we are focused on at NASA, and we try to match that technical gap or need with the small business innovators.
So this company was founded like little over decades ago. With the public sector, there are a lot of changes and also many challenge problems needs to be solved. I myself often come up with a lot of ideas, but I need a group of talented individuals to support my vision to bring this company to life.
If you look at the history of propulsion, aerospace propulsion breakthroughs always drove new capabilities. And we're trying to develop a next generation engine capability here. We got some NASA SBIRs to look at some of the fuels technology because they were interested in some of the additional performance it would offer as well as the cost savings.
Robust Analytics is a woman-owned small business. We've been around for 13 years now. We specialize in doing research and development, primarily in the aviation area. We've also done work in homeland security. But our main focus areas these days is doing research into aviation safety to try and maintain the extraordinary high levels of aviation in the United States and other global airline operations. And we've also been branching out into the world of autonomous flight. We've been developing some of the technologies to try and enable you to operate, let's say, a fleet of package delivery drones, on Amazon or UPS or Google, delivering packages to your home in an urban area. It's a big technical challenge, right? Because you don't have a pilot on board, the weather is different. So we've developed some small urban-focused weather stations that are networked together, to try and provide the drone and the future air taxi operators with the wind and weather data that they need to fly safely.
NASA surađuje s malim tvrtkama i zato što one često mogu biti brže i dinamičnije u pristupu procesu inovacije.
So one of the things that I'm really excited about our portfolio and the way that we work with innovators across the country is that literally anyone can work with us. We work extensively with small businesses and entrepreneurs, and NASA does so in one of two primary ways. Sometimes small businesses think about working with NASA as a potential customer for their products and services, when they've got products and services that they're trying to sell the agency as a potential customer of those products. But where I'm really concerned and where we invest our money in the Space Technology Mission Directorate is those small businesses and entrepreneurs that are developing technologies and pushing the boundaries of the next generation of products and services.
We've been working on electric propulsion. The historical approaches to liquid propulsion have always been to use turbo machinery, turbo pumps. You burn a hot gas on one side to power a mechanical pump to drive the cryogenics. And what this does is it's very dense, it's very, very powerful. This is amazing rotating machinery. But one side is 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, the other side is minus 250, minus 350 Fahrenheit. And if there's a leak through that shaft, very bad things happen very quickly. By replacing all of those hot gas elements with high power density electric motors, we can get the same level of performance and at the same time have a lot more digital control. What I like to say is that we will be taking rocket propulsion out of the steampunk Victorian age and into the cyberpunk 21st century digital age.
We have different focuses. One is sensor technology. The second one is non-destructive and structured health monitoring. Another one is we developed a battery management system. And also we have material evaluations. Another one is signal processing.
The program is predicated on getting the money into the hands of these small business innovators to reduce the risk so that they are either going to be able to sell their solution to NASA for a mission that we've identified, and another side benefit is the opportunity to sell into the commercial marketplace. And so the small businesses have the flexibility, the nimbleness, and the general gumption and fire within to deliver on the technical need that we often find we have gaps in. Technologies that we're looking at for small business to help us with are pretty high risk, and NASA uses a scale of technology readiness level. We're looking for feasibility early on with the small business, and then into prototyping so that we can really start to test out, potentially getting into an environment that we really know the technology is going to work. Small businesses are oftentimes better able to respond at this high-risk, low technology readiness level and deliver on solutions that we can use in a pretty quick turnaround.
After that, we started working with the SBIR program. Our first few proposals were not accepted, so we got better. We were able to bring in some partners, companies with expertise and industry knowledge that we lacked. So that allowed us to write winning proposals. A few years ago, they came out with a topic that basically said they were looking for concepts and technologies to enable a safe transition from today's single pilot operations, where you always have a pilot on board the aircraft, to a future where you have a fleet of unpiloted vehicles that are commanded and controlled by a single person on the ground. So that's a big technical challenge, So NASA wasn't looking for, a single specific solution that covered everything, but, some ideas that would help manage that transition that will take place over time and to do that gradually.
NASA-ini programi i suradnje obuhvaćaju inkubacijske i akceleracijske aktivnosti za partnere koji im pomažu ostvariti ciljeve tehnološkog razvoja na globalnoj razini.
Earliest of the early stage is this program called NIAC, NASA Innovative Advanced Concepts. And they're really looking to identify those breakthrough, transformative ideas that could change the possible in aerospace. And those ideas can come from anywhere. They come from NASA researchers, they come from small businesses, individual researchers, universities, and large businesses. In 2014, one of our NIAC fellows had proposed an idea for a large balloon reflector that essentially would create an inflatable space antenna. As a result of the work that that university did, not only with the professor, but the students, they created a spin-off company to try to help to commercialize that technology. And that technology is actually flying in space next year, thanks to the CubeSat launch initiative in 2022, and it'll be a huge milestone for them to getting their product ready for commercial sales.
NASA is good about looking at, where they want tomorrow's research to be delivering into products and funding those aspects. So we've worked with them on small satellite launch technology and on lunar lander technology and nuclear thermal propulsion technology, which is all aligned nicely with the ideas we've been working on. Some of the problems we've been trying to crack are very, very theoretical. Having a good university partner is vital to being able to either bring the right brain power to the problem or bring some of the unique facilities that some of the universities have.
We've had an opportunity over the past, now it's 8 or 9 years to work with, some of the best aeronautics researchers in the world. So that's an enormous opportunity in addition to the business benefits that comes with working with these people.
Zbog vrlo specijaliziranog djelokruga, NASA nema uvijek potrebe za masovnom proizvodnjom svojih tehnoloških izuma.
While NASA might have needs for a couple of units because we're not flying that many missions to the moon or Mars and beyond, we really want to see these small businesses thriving in a private sector commercial marketplace. And I find this time that we are alive right now so particularly exciting because there has been this burgeoning space sector. You see private companies flying private citizens now. You see a multitude of small satellites. Even high school students are able to fly spacecraft these days. And so the opportunity for a small business to not only sell to NASA for its our own technical need, but finding customers outside, very exciting opportunity. And so that's what we're looking to do with our program, is provide funds, buy down that technical risk, and see commercial success.
So the SBR and the STTR programs encourage small business to collaborate with universities, small and big companies to bring the innovative technologies together to solve our modern challenging problems. So we were able to develop those wonderful technologies and later on used on our technologies on the commercial companies like Total and Shell. And also we collaborate with like Boeing, and we're very blessed to work with Army and the Navy Missile Defense Agency. So this supported us through the SBIR and the STTR program.
Prizes and challenges are a really unique tool that's available to the government, and NASA was one of the first agencies to lean in on using prizes and challenges to advance technology development activities. One of our early prizes, the Lunar Lander Challenge in 2009, there were a number of different competitors that competed in that prize, and one of the companies, the company that actually won that challenge in 2009, said that when they were participating in the challenge, their only customer was the challenge. They were developing some very early stage technology where the market wasn't clearly defined yet, but they were trying to achieve something ambitious. And they were able to, which gave them some credibility in the marketplace. And now they've got a number of NASA contracts, including a contract that will deliver payloads to the surface of the moon.
Gradeći tu suradničku mrežu od brojnih inovativnih poduzetnika, NASA znatno ubrzava razvoj futurističke tehnologije.
I would hope that over the next 10, 15 years, we're able to produce deep throttling tri-propellant engines, fully reusable space launchers that can carry between 1 and 3 tons to low Earth orbit for less than $1 million a mission recurring. The daily flights to space are just a reality within 10 or 15 years. I think with the right technical successes and the right funding vehicles, we can demonstrate all of these capabilities, and that larger aerospace systems integrators are able to take our technology and turn them into flight vehicles. We're a small company. We could, in theory, grow 100x or 1,000x, or we could become a small propulsion division within a well-known national enterprise. If our technology helps to open up space for the American people, then we have been a wild success. And we've achieved every goal we aimed for.
When we started, most of the work that we were doing was focused mostly on providing a solution that NASA was going to use in their own missions. Help them design a simulation test bed to evaluate the complex interaction of the new technologies that will be coming on board over the next decade or two. And then we were able to come up with a completely different idea for doing air-ground integration between airline dispatchers and pilots in the aircraft. The idea of this technology is to take advantage of wireless internet to the flight deck. So we developed some technologies to basically provide information sharing between the dispatcher that has access to a lot of data that the aircraft does not have. And then that sort of migrated over into supporting a different group within NASA in an operational evaluation that they did with Alaska Airlines. NASA was bringing one of their decision support systems that provides in-flight aircraft with rerouting around bad weather and other congestion type problems.
The company, a handful of years ago, was able to get the first 3D printer up in space. They tested their technology on space station. That has now led to them receiving nearly $100 million award from NASA to start to test advanced materials 3D printing in space. You see a small group of smart engineers had an idea that we could use a 3D printer in space and have developed that into a massive contract, and they have since been purchased by another company. And that is just in 5-6 years.
Osim što male tvrtke svojim doprinosom dodatno ojačaju NASA-u, u toj suradnji otvaraju im se jedinstvene mogućnosti za razvoj poslovanja.
So when NASA is seeking solutions from small businesses and entrepreneurs in order to advance our missions, we are looking across the waterfront of potentially innovative technology areas, from robotics to autonomy to materials to thermal systems to digging technologies for in situ resource utilization on the moon to AI and machine learning. We're leveraging all the cutting edge technologies that you could imagine in order to advance NASA's mission, and we're seeking all of those solutions from small businesses and entrepreneurs.
Our ideas work, and it shows that there's at least 2 or 3x better in liquid propulsion out there, then we are able to drive the cost down 10x for the future investigators, for the university students. I have this wacky vision of college students being able to go out and raise a couple of $1,000s and build and fly their own CubeSat, where it's about the cost of a decent used car. They can experiment and fly their own space missions. Making that sort of thing possible makes everything we've struggled to do worthwhile.
Small business focused on unpiloted, unmanned aircraft. One of the challenges is you can't let the UAV get out of your sight because you're not really going to be able to control it as well. What they developed was a credit card-sized technical solution that you put on the UAV that allows it to talk to satellites. And here's the opportunity where you can sell to other customers. So now you see Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, other agencies that deal in disaster situations. When infrastructure has gone down, you don't have comms, you can throw up a couple of UAVs, and now you have your communications restored.
The work that we've been doing is focused on 2 primary areas. One is autonomous flight. The challenge is how do you manage, a fleet of unpiloted aircraft? In the future, they're going to be out of sight, and there's going to be one person on the ground responsible for managing that entire fleet. So we've been developing technologies to do that. The other area that we've got major activity underway is in aviation safety, to try and provide two functions that are important for aviation safety. One is to measure what's actually going on out there, monitor, safety events within the system, and try to detect trends that are negative, so you can provide an alert to the FAA or the airline when things seem to be getting worse than we would like to operate. The second part is to try and be predictive. So we've developed a multi-hour forecast that combines data and forecast for a lot of different hazards in the airspace. Think of bad weather, thunderstorms, when you have lots of traffic or low ceiling and visibility or equipment outages.
Fleksibilnost koju male tvrtke unose u partnerstvo nas je potrebna kad treba razviti specifična tehnološka rješenja.
Our current technologies fits NASA's needs pretty well. The battery management system is, we have been developing that for several years through NASA's different SBIR and the STTR program. So they have a different focus, but I see that is the trend, is in the heart of the electrical vehicle and the electrical aircraft. That is one of the future we're supporting NASA's mission.
Our portfolio of programs within NASA is having impact both here on Earth and in space. For example, in the work that we do to advance technology and competitiveness for the U.S., we see a number of those technologies advancing to actual use in places where the U.S. is leading. No greater example of that is the rover that just landed on the surface of Mars, the Mars Perseverance rover that had 13 technologies that were funded by the Space Technology Mission Directorate on board. A majority of those came from small businesses that are now roaming the surface of Mars and helping us advance our knowledge of that red planet.
One of those is supporting the MOXIE experiment. This is an experiment on the rover to try to turn or create oxygen. There's a recognition when we send humans there, we're going to have a need for oxygen and consumables for humans to thrive on the red planet. So MOXIE is an experiment on Perseverance with a key technology sourced through the SBIR STTR program.
Also, we certainly see impact here on Earth. One great example of that is a company in Boston that actually came in through a NIAC proposal to try to figure out how to derive power from biology in space in order to better power missions in space. And they found an application working through the SBIR program for that same technology to actually clean wastewater while generating energy here on Earth. And they found a market, of all places, with wine producers, and to date have cleaned something over 20 billion gallons of wastewater in that domestic market here right on Earth.
We're seeing in-space production actually happening now, where we're building fiber on space station. We're doing tissue engineering, regenerative medicine testing. So as the commercial space market is starting to open, we're seeing small business fill the gap and start to meet the needs of a broad array of customers.
Male tvrtke koje se uključe u program suradnje i postanu NASA-ini partneri imaju pristup dragocjenoj riznici informacija, nacrta i podataka.
I don't think we'd be anywhere a tenth as far as where we are today with engineering and concepts without the assistance of NASA. There's a very famous line, if I've seen so much further, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. I've had the ability to interview some of the senior-most people on various vehicle programs and discuss finer points and where there was room to improve, what issues were driven by schedule and what issues were driven by technology limits. Being able to use the NASA Technology Research Service, NTRS, being able to access NASA software catalogs. We do not have to start from zero. We are able to start on third base because of the various investments that they have provided and make available. we are looking at testing advanced nozzles. And I don't have to build a $20 million facility. I have to be able to see if we can work out the administrative and technical challenges to working with the Advanced Nozzle Test Facility at Marshall Space Flight Center. We did our 30,000-pound and our JP-8 testing at NASA Stennis. I was always very proud of that work we did down there because we went there for a month and a half. Everybody walked off the stand. We had good data. We had good test cards. The engineers were wanting to race forward, and the NASA people were like, let's take 5 seconds and think about this before everyone goes out there. They worked very hard to make sure that we were doing a dangerous thing and no one would get hurt.
We've been focusing on developing and maturing the technologies, trying to do operational evaluations so we can demonstrate that, they actually have value out there for users, whether airlines or the FAA. And as we've developed those technologies, our relationship with NASA has gotten, I think, a little bit deeper and more mature as well, because when you start going out and testing the technologies, that requires participation from lots of people. So we rely on NASA to try and provide those connections and to integrate that support, connect us with airlines that are interested with our technology and introduce us to the right people at the FAA that could be users as well.
Another great partner with our program is the Small Spacecraft Technology Program. This is a program that is buying down risk on advancing technology for small spacecraft. One of the biggest challenges is having a technology that is tested in the actual environment that it is going to need to be deployed. And so I think that's partly why we see such great success with the Small Spacecraft Technology Program, because they're testing out technologies in low Earth orbit on small spacecraft, and it's a great feeder for our small businesses to provide technical solution to meet those needs. Small Sat revolution has opened up the doors for so many people to actually fly a mission in space. And we've heard on order of maybe 80% of the Small Spacecraft Technology Program's work is sourced through SBIR. So there's just a natural connection and relationship between small business innovation and small spacecraft technology development.
NASA je uspostavila i izravnu vezu sa sveučilištima, te program zapošljavanja mladih nakon diplome.
We had, as a small business, the ability to get world-class data, to do cutting-edge research, highly dangerous activities, and not have a single injury on stand, was because we were partnered with some of the best test engineers in the world provided by NASA. Our guys would be like, they're slowing us down. I wanted to do this. And they sat for a review. And I'd be like, hang on. Let's ask them why this is. And one of the engineers said, he goes, if we don't look at the test data and reduce it and understand what it's telling us, all we're doing is documenting for the incident board. But if we spend a little time thinking about this, then we can help you figure out what the scientific breakthroughs are here. What is the data telling us? And so I'd go to my guys and I'd say, they're thinking about it and they're smart, and they want to make sure they're not pushing beyond the limits of the hardware or the ground support equipment.
We've developed, a network of urban weather stations that is designed to fill the gap that you don't have the wind and weather data that you need for low altitude flying through a metropolitan area. And we would like to test out that technology, ideally with an aircraft and an operator, but we're a small business, so we don't have an aircraft available. But fortunately, through NASA's work with the National Campaign, they connected us to Whisk Aero, who is developing one of these, the next generation autonomous electric vehicles. So we're going to be working with them, testing out the communications and data exchange So when their aircraft starts to fly, it will have the data that they need to fly safely. Right now, we are probably bringing in at least 60 gigabytes of data a day. Actually, with some of the new data services we brought online, that will probably double in the next month. So we have to process all of that, integrate it, and then actually do a lot of analysis on months, even years of that historical data to figure out what it's actually telling us about operations so we can develop the forecasting model. So we're planning with Wisk Aero to do support their flight demonstrations in summer of 2022.
We also have a great partnership with the Game Changing Development Program, another program within NASA looking to buy down risk. We're doing a lot of in-space manufacturing with them, and we find great success when we have small business innovators well connected to the NASA subject matter experts. So where we see a clear NASA mission need and programs willing to take that technology that the small business is delivering and implement it in a way that helps buy down that risk.
Ublažavanje rizika još je jedna korisna strana suradnje s malim tvrtkama. Za uzvrat, NASA omogućuje inovatorima da ostvare snove.
After working with NASA for 10 years, I will say if you have a dream, go for it. Never give up.
Over the next couple of years, we're going to be focusing pretty strongly, as I mentioned, on commercializing our technologies. But also there's a challenge that as you bring in, new operations like drone operations in the urban area or the electric vehicles and air taxis, we need to figure out how to bring in all of those new data sources on their operations. So we're looking forward and working with NASA to figure out how do we develop those monitoring and prediction systems for these completely new aircraft and operations that don't exist today.
The commercial investment world and the commercial products world is very, very short-term ROI driven. And NASA has the benefit of they can look to technology drive, they can look to science drive, they can look at tech push as their reason to do things. There was no return on investment for the Apollo program. There was no return on investment to going out to New Horizons and exploring Pluto. Those were purely science projects. But NASA is there to create that return of the benefit of science, the benefit of technology versus the cash returns that dominate the commercial world. That gives them more freedom to look at things which don't have an immediate market niche, but will have a potential application 5-10 years down the line. And the entire purpose of this Science and Technology Mission Directorate is to look at those technologies which can pop up in 5 or 10 years and be inserted into both the commercial world, the military world, the civil sector, and NASA's own future missions.
We're focused on improving the process throughout that whole life cycle, opening the funnel more broadly so that we're getting new, fresh ideas in, and ultimately meeting the needs of our partner customers within NASA on the NASA mission, as well as sensing where the commercial market is going, and so that we can help align our investments with their needs as well. Priority in the coming years is additional ways that we can provide the support to the small business, because one of the things that we hear time and time again from our awardees is they really benefit by engaging with our technical experts. They get a sense of what is really needed. They get to work in partnership with those experts so that they can know where to focus their time and energy. And that's really where you see the acceleration and the growth in their ideas is in that partnership.
There is so much I love about my job. I think that I've got one of the coolest jobs at NASA. And one of the reasons that I think that I have the coolest job at NASA is because of the breadth of technologies that we get to help advance and the diversity and the creativity of the communities that we engage. It's not only people that work at NASA that are passionate about NASA. There is a effect that the mission has on partners and observers from around the globe seeking to advance discovery and knowledge and to explore the unknown. There's something compelling and human in that touches everyone. The need to explore and the need to discover and the need to continue to ask and answer questions. And I really don't see a mission that is more inspirational than ours. And it's a privilege every day to be able to be one small part of that.
Suradnja s NASA-om na tako uzbudljivim projektima oduševljava inovatore, a pametno osmišljeni programi i pristup brojnim stručnjacima različitih profila NASA daju dodatnu prednost. U ovoj uzbudljivoj sezoni zavirili smo iza kulisa NASA-inih centara i vidjeli kako organizacija poznata po najinovativnijoj tehnologiji na svijetu ostvaruje svoje zamisli. Dobra stara NASA uvijek predvodi čovječanstvo na putu evolucije.